The St. Louis Chess Club is pleased to announce the expansion of our world-class chess facility. The 20,000 square foot expansion and upgraded facility will feature new ground-level classrooms supporting players of all ages, as well as expanded tournament and community gathering spaces with state-of-the-art technology. Accessibility upgrades, including a new 3-story elevator, will provide access for all participants and allow even greater community engagement in the great game of chess. As a proud resident of the Central West End neighborhood for over a decade, our hope is to build upon our investment into the community and solidify St. Louis as America's chess capital and preeminent global destination for lovers of the sport. We look forward to seeing you in our new space.
Are you a chess educator, scholar, or enthusiast? Join me, Grandmaster Maurice Ashley, for the St. Louis Chess Conference to be held October 24th to 26th here in America's chess capital for the latest methods, resources, and research. Register now at stlchessconference.org.
The stages are set, the players are primed, the best of the best are ready to face off in the 2024 Grand Chess Tour. The top players in the world prepare to battle across 4 countries for a $1.5 million prize fund. Everything starts in Warsaw with the Superbet Rapid and Blitz Poland. Then off to Bucharest for the Superbet Chess Classic Romania. The players then travel to Zagreb for the Super United Rapid and Blitz Croatia. The tour concludes with back-to-back events in St. Louis, Missouri, the chess capital of America, for the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz and the Sinkfield Cup. 9 players will go in, but only one can be crowned champion. Who is prepared to make history? Get ready for the return of the Grand Chess Tour.
The following is a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club.
Hello, and welcome to round 5 of the 2024 Summer Chess Classic. As always, my name is Caleb Denby, and I'm joined by Grandmaster Yasser Seirawan once again.
As always,
pleasure
to be with you.
We're making our way over the hill today. It's
Yes,
round
we
5,
are.
so the midway point to the tournament, and the players are still hard at work
As we see
down at the Chase Park Plaza.
Absolutely. And tell us what has happened after 4 rounds. Very intense, intriguing play.
So much has happened, but there's no clear, real leaders. We've got a 4-way tie for first in both sections, but over here in the A group, it's between Ray Robson, Grigoriy Oparin, Christopher Yu, and Andrew Hong. But just a half point back are 3 more players, Awonder, Liang, Ante, Brkic, and Nikolas Theodorou. So with a win, any of those players could find themselves in the lead today.
Absolutely, quite the chasing pack. And in the B group, what the standings tell us there?
Well, I think it's about an identical situation. We have 4 leaders once again. This time, the young Andy Woodward is tied with Steven Zierk, Harshit Raja, and Begum Tokirjanova. all on 2.5 points. Beckman, by the way, I think might be the lowest seed in the event, so not a bad place to find yourself after round 4, tied for first place.
Absolutely, and by virtue of her victory over Irina yesterday.
Yes, in a very up and down game.
Yes.
And only a half point back are Josiah Stearman, Brewington Hardaway, and Alice Lee. Alice with 4 draws so far, but very interesting games.
No question about it. Tell us about the format.
Yeah, of course. This, of course, is a 2 10-player round robin tournament, which means we have the A group and the B group, both of which are round robins.
Right.
The players themselves have 2 hours for the entire game, with a 30-second increment starting from move 1, and they are not allowed to offer any draws.
Right.
It means that you can only end the game on the board. And let's see what our schedule for the event is going to be as well.
Exactly, we're in round 5.
Of course, today is round 5, Saturday, June 1st. All of the games start at 1:30 p.m. You can follow along at uschesschamps.com. But we are nearing that round 9, which is going to be special. Don't forget, 2 hours earlier, we will start the round, as well as our show. Of course, our show starts at 4 o'clock p.m. every day. You can follow our show and follow the games online at uschesschamps.com. Be sure to get involved on X as well, using the hashtag SummerChessClassic. We would love to hear from you guys.
Absolutely. Stump the masters, if you will. Tell us about the pairings. Lay the table. What can our viewers expect for round 5?
Well, here we are. As we talked about with the standings, every game is incredibly relevant for the tournament situation. One of our leaders, Robson, finds himself with a nice position against Mikhail and Antipov. Ante Brkic is playing another leader, Christopher Yu. Nikolas Theodorou plays Benjamin Bach. Temur Kuybokarov plays Awonder Liang. And in our key matchup of the day, Grigoriy Oparin plays fellow co-leader Andrew Hong. And we think Grigoriy might have found himself in a little bit of trouble.
Big time, actually. It's one of these peculiar, I don't even know what the name for it is. It's an open Sicilian where after queen takes d4, knight to c6, you drop your queen back to d2. I think it's very well known dropping the queen back to d3 with the idea of sliding across to g3 in a number of variations. Queen d2 has kind of been like a modern twist. I want to give Magnus credit, if you want to put it that way, for dropping the queen back to d2. g7, g6, and this seems like the most aggressive thing that black can do. He's asking you, why did you put your queen on d2? I'll develop with tempo.
So as opposed to d3, I suppose the point for white is that this leaves the lane open for the light squared bishop to develop at some point. And we're planning to bring our dark squared bishop to b3. But
yeah, these variations, the flexibility of the development, you're never really sure that you want to even develop the light squared bishop.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to put it on d3? Well, you kind of block the rook on d1. You want to put it on c4? Well, are you a target? It's one of those things that, sometimes you just go h4, h5 and try to checkmate the guy.
Yeah.
f4, f5. Now this was really a surprise for me. Like,
Andrew Hong's trying to trying to go.
Where did f5 come from? I mean, sort of like, is that move for real? So the first thing you would kind of ask yourself is, what if I park my bishop on this diagonal now? Most especially because of no more castle castling short. Grigoriy took I hit the wrong key there. Grigoriy took a very different approach from anything like that. He just played bishop b2, knight f6, castle, and sacrificed the pawn.
Okay.
So I'm like, but dude,
but what's the point?
What's the point? h3, okay, I get it. You're going to go g4, g5. Yay, I get it. Castles, g4, knight takes g4. So I've got to preface g4 by defending the pawn on f4, e5. Okay, so g4, right?
That's what you would think, but queen takes d6 instead.
And I think this is a big mistake by white. Queen takes d6. As we were coming on the show, we were having some fun ourselves. I thought white had to play g4, and First of all, you have to overcome your absolute fear. Like, what?
Sheer terror.
Sheer terror. What are you doing? You're putting yourself in this terrible pin, and the rook on f8 is ready for tactics galore. Must be facing you. But I assure you, before you get yourself all excited, don't forget that your king is a little bit exposed. For example, let's just say takes.
Free queen.
Free queen.
We did it.
Check. Where are you going?
Oh, I guess I'm going to h8, and then...
If you move your rook, I'll take the bishop.
Of course.
If you move the king on the diagonal, well, I'll take your bishop. I'm the one who gets a discover check. None of that happened, and the current position is just Grigoriy is a pawn.
It's pretty gross.
And it's pretty gross. It's, well, grim is the word.
Okay.
Beautiful pawn on e3. Tell us about the pairings
Well,
for Group B.
Before we go there,
Sure.
Hold on. After this 90, oh, well, okay, we can take a look at the B group.
Yes.
But 98, what is happening with bishop c4 here? Is black
guess he's
facing
moving
some
his
kind
king.
of play, just king h8, and then
King h8?
and then that's it. Okay.
Mm.
I was just
We
a
keep
little
going.
worried about knight f7, but we have to move our rook.
Yes. And I suppose black is ready to go
h6, and we'll hide on h7. Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's where we currently stand. Grigoriy Oparin under a lot of pressure here.
Would seem so. And self-inflicted.
Gonna have to find a way to save this game
Exactly.
to stay in the lead. But
tell us about Group B, the
as you said,
pairings.
the B group also is every game is going to be relevant because the standings are more or less identical.
Right.
One of our leaders, Steven Zierk, will be playing Akshat Chandra. Another leader, Begum Togirjanova, takes on Melik Kanchian. A third leader, Andy Woodward, plays Irina Krush. Alice Lee finds herself against Brewington Hardaway. And our final co-leader, Harshit Raja, plays Josiah Stearman in our key matchup of the day.
Right. And let's jump into this because actually it's a draw.
It's over. So
in my generation, we had what was called the Grandmaster draw. And you'll see in all of these opening variations, there's usually a repetition. There's a way of making repetition. This Grandmaster draw was new to me.
a little more exciting.
So here we go. Open Sicilian, and you know, good commentators that we are, we chose this as our marquee matchup for Group
Looks
B.
good so far. Okay.
Boy, have we made a great choice. And settling in, we have what we would call a Fischer attack, what our opening books call the Sozin.
Yes.
And this is absolutely ridiculous. So the point was that during the time that the Soviets dominated chess, post-World War II, 70 years of domination, the Soviets put out enormous numbers of books.
Yes.
And they put their name on everything.
They just claimed all the openings for themselves, even if they had
everything.
nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
Like, who is Sozin?
Right, nobody knew. So he's like an international master. He played this variation as white 3 times.
Pretty good.
He lost twice and drew once.
Yeah.
Bobby
Sozin
Fischer played this, infused it with all kinds of new ideas, and won some really superb model games. They call it the Sozin attack. It's completely ridiculous. Bobby Fischer attack.
Even today, I hear Fischer Sozin a lot.
Right.
And I'm like, we just can't get rid of that guy.
You can't get rid of that guy. So B5, and this is actually super great stuff, double-edged. I love it.
Yeah.
I think that this is a kind of a critical moment for White's play. I like this idea of the English attack. You just go F3 here. You kind of just play it by route. You go F3. I don't know if you want to put your bishop on B7 or not. I'm going to go G4. You go queen side, I go king side, and let the chips fall where they may. I can also include queen E2 or queen D2.
Like a regular English attack, but our bishop's on B3 instead of F1.
Exactly. Let's go for it. After B5, queen F3, okay, this is a peculiarity in the position. Be careful. I've got a potential for a discovered attack. Queen C7, and this is sort of like I throw the ball back at you and say, well, execute your double attack. You go E5, and I will meet that with bishop B7. And oops, your queen, and you don't have really time to grab as many pieces and pawns as you would like. So queen c7, g4. And then you're kind of scratching your head going, well, is the queen really well placed on f3?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. b4, and the thing's getting wild. b4 is like one of those moves where you don't want to play it. You don't want to play it because it's always in your pocket.
The threat
It's
is
stronger than the execution. So in this particular case, what black has got to be thinking is I can play b4, move the knight. I can go knight takes e4.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Queen takes e4, bishop b7, and whoop, I'll skewer the rook. So black plays the move b4 with evil intentions.
With the
Knight
threats,
e2, and that I don't understand.
Doesn't follow through?
Now, maybe it's just wrong. I don't know, but I could have swore you played bishop for a reason.
It's hard to say.
It must be related to this.
Yeah, I was going to say,
this.
Is there a knight g3 we could have played as well? But
I beg your pardon, knight g3?
Knight g3,
At one moment.
This moment.
At this moment.
But
I
yeah,
apologize.
you can take it and then go bishop e7, so that doesn't look so good.
No.
I was just trying to use this pin, but okay,
Right.
so queen e4 you were saying?
Yes, queen e4, in for a penny, in for a pound. The reason Bobby Fischer put his bishop on b3 is so he could pound the e6 pawn. Let's go.
Time to take it.
Let's go. Now, I'm not saying this is good for white or not. I mean, I'm just saying it's a rook sacrifice, and Raja may have been eyeballing this. It looks scary. I personally, I like a safe game.
Yeah.
This is not a safe game.
We are down a rook, though.
Right? But I mean, we've got to...
f7.
We've got to start thinking about, like...
Yeah. It's not easy.
Yeah, you're going to be facing some serious issues. None of this happened because out of the blue and very
Josiah
confusing...
just brought the knight back.
Knight back. Now it's sort of like, what? Knight back. My head kind of explodes because, okay, first of all, the desirable bishop takes e6. I have to consider knight e5.
This must be the point.
Yeah, okay. So as you know, I'm a little bit confused as to why our queen was on f3 in the first place. So again, I would go for these English attacks, kind of like f3, g5.
Yeah, and probably knight c5 is the idea.
Exactly. And away we go.
Yeah.
This is just a completely different game. This
But
is our
Raja had
Grandmaster.
something else in mind.
This is our Grandmaster draw. I have never seen this one before. Thump. Say what? I'll take the queen. Thump. Okay, now I've already collected 2 pawns. The king's kind of exposed. I don't want to put the queen on a square where I could fall for, like b7.
Yep.
There's a potential for knight c5 check or knight d8 double check. So he puts his queen out of danger.
Out of the way.
Out of the way. Knight c7 check. Now, of course, you go king back to f8. You don't
want to go to f6.
I don't want to go to f6, which only encourages what looks like will be potential checkmates.
Must be mate somewhere.
Some mates are coming. I'm sure they abound. So you have to retreat, and then the game ended at a very early draw. Yeah. Commentator's curse. We picked 2 very aggressive players to watch, and who knew it was going to be our marquee matchup. Well, thank you for watching the show. Goodbye, everybody. We're done.
Wait! We've got 4 other games in the B group. Yeah.
Oh, we do.
So, looking at those pairings, it seems we have a very interesting situation where all 4 of our leaders have white against people who are not leaders. So any one of them could take this opportunity to snag the lead if they manage to get a good position.
When we were coming on air, I thought that Begum had a really, really big advantage against Melikset. And she does.
Yes.
And she's converted it into a material advantage. As good or bad as this might appear for Black, I'm amazed that he survived. Because a moment ago, it looked like, first of all, White's up a pawn.
Yes.
And she's the one with the initiative.
Okay.
So it's like what Roman Djindjiashvili would say, White has the pawn and the compensation. And after knight d5, I thought, well, you may not be long for this world. I mean, bad things are happening, not the least of which is like, okay, I'm just going to do a rover. I'm going to go knight b4, pawn on b7. That's a king in the center of the board. Queen takes h2.
Snagged pawn.
Well, if you're going to go down, you might as well go down swinging. Rook f1, like that move, f6. Okay. This is a little bit surprising.
She just went knight b4, knight takes.
Yeah, it's a little bit surprising that there wasn't anything more than this. This is good.
It's very good.
It's very good. But
yeah, I like what she's ended up with here after rook g7
because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He got a pawn and a bishop for the exchange.
It's true, but the king is still there.
Terrible.
Right?
The king is terrible.
If queen a6 ever happens, the game might be over.
Exactly. So you just have to keep an eye on this one.
Rook
maybe
dg1.
Preface it with a move like this. There's also very cruel ideas of e5 and a queen snagging on h7. Again, probably in combination with rook dg1. Should be winning for Begum, but she's got still work ahead of her. Andy against Irina. Irina has been, in a kind of a strange way, very unlucky in this event. She's got good positions out of the opening.
Some very good positions.
Including yesterday's position, but our converting them has been woeful. Knight f6. Okay, now
Seems like it should blunder something.
Yeah, why isn't the rook on e2 hanging?
It is.
Okay, so she has intended rook takes, of course.
Sure.
Now I could include knight f6 as a Zwischenzug.
Maybe we should, because you might play rook takes e4.
Precisely, that was. So I'm going to have to, but on the other hand, why not? I suppose, I don't know. What's happened? Hasn't White somehow...
We're up a pawn, right?
Yeah, for the moment. If we ever play c4, it's like we're up a pawn.
Yeah.
But the bishop on g2 being a passive bishop. What did you call passive bishops?
I mean, there's so many names. The classical one, I think, is a tall pawn.
A tall pawn.
Is what they would joke about.
Okay. I come from the barbaric Northwest, and we called bishops septilicus, as there's a septic.
I have not heard that one.
Okay, so you've got septic, like a septic tank. Septilicus. It's just like this rotten, ugly. You don't even want to think about what a septilicus could mean. So the bishop on g2 does a good job at defending the king. Little else at this moment. So maybe Irina's got compensation for the pawn, but strange. I thought she was doing pretty darn good around here.
Yeah, so a-b5 makes sense.
A-b5, queen here.
Rook e2 was the choice here, I guess.
Yeah. So,
I'm not sure.
So the first question I might ask is, okay, no.
b4. At the risk of saying the same moves every broadcast. Queen a5.
Yes. Okay, so the idea is pretty straightforward. We're simply defending the pawn. we would like to play the move c4 and ask your rook to move away. Simultaneously, we'd like to play bishop takes c3. So what did she reject?
Is knight e4 the question?
Probably the only move.
And now after c4, I think I can go rook b4.
Okay. So always, 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 whenever you're playing the black side of a Benoni, your duty is to keep the lookout for sacrifices.
Yes.
Exchanges and piece sacrifices, sacrificing a piece on e4, sacrificing a piece somewhere, and you know, I don't know, maybe white is okay, but this is what you got to do. Yeah. I mean, you're playing with a queenside majority. I mean,
you're going to take c3, and you might just win.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. Your majority is here. This is your trump.
Yeah.
And it's very, very natural in these types of positions as well to play takes in c4. There's a problem. Knight takes c4. If the knight were on f3, the sacrifice is a rather routine matter for black. Again, you're looking for sacrifices and piece activity. Queen a5. Once again, what could we be missing?
Yeah, I mean, if white wants to play slowly, I'm not even sure how you would do it.
Right, like queen b2 would be just a dreadful.
Terrible, yeah. And
yeah, that
queen,
was
queen c2. Maybe now this move, rook e2 makes a little more sense.
And then the question is, if you go back just for a moment, if you wanted to play queen c2,
exactly.
Yeah, why would you allow the inclusion? So queen a5, I'm sure it was based on knight e4, because knight e4 actually does some nice things. It defends the pawn on c3, it attacks the pawn on d6, and it's an aggressive move.
So many nice things. You can just take it.
Yeah, exactly. Something about this exchange sacrifice Irina didn't like. Gee, I don't know. Maybe she thought her king was loose? It is kind of loose, but there's not many pieces attacking it. I mean, I'm defending with a good bishop and a good knight, too, by the way. That knight is very good, well-placed knight.
Yeah, you could even start with, I was going to say knight f6, but I want my knight on c5, e5, and f6. I don't know. I don't know which one.
I would start with
keep
just
your pawn.
takes. Just takes. And then the question is, I would probably want my bishop out of the way, just so that c3, b4, you know, two connected pass pawns, and I just ask white, okay. I don't know. This is what Benoni players are supposed to aspire towards. And I don't know if bishop to g7 is the best move.
I think bishop f6 makes sense because
bishop f6,
I was a little bit
covering the e7
wondering
square.
about queen e7 and these kinds of things.
Knight e5, knight c5. Good squares.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Seems like compensation.
But the choice of Irina with rook e2 and this whole, it's happened, by the way. She didn't play rook c2. So she's just saying, I'll play opposite colored bishops a pawn down, but thanks to my great domination of the dark squares, I'm happy.
Sure.
Is she? Should she be?
I don't think black should be too unhappy here. I don't know if black's any better, but I think black is doing okay. I'm worried a little bit about queen c4, but I think we can chop on g3.
Right.
And just kind of sit.
Sit is good. Sit.
This move rook c2 is still going to be there. And
the only question for me is if I can arrange a counterattack on f7 or not. So let me just say that I think black has great compensation, like great compensation. But the question is, can white do something in the immediacy? If you play rook c2 and go for that pawn.
I'll bite.
Okay, if you go for it, let's say I go here. My dream is I want to play queen to b8 check, rook to b7, rook to b1 to b7, and maybe on a good day, getting in the move bishop to h5.
I want to play f takes g3 on every turn.
Exactly.
So let's just do that just for my health.
Yeah, good.
And then
good manners.
Yeah, I think I'll play rook takes just because
Right.
queen c4 might be a little awkward if I
Okay.
play bishop takes.
So the only thing I see is the potential for a attack on the back rank.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm doing it well, but here we go. Rook a1.
The potential is there.
Rook takes f3. I have rook a8 check. I get out of the... So I don't think rook f3 is there for the moment. But it's double-edged. It could easily be one of those cases where, you know, we're both mauling each other's king.
Yeah, because I think my king might actually end up not so unsafe on h6. Like, let's say you give the check and go rook a8, and I just ignore everything and go bishop d4.
Right.
Yeah.
And just say, do your worst, and maybe I can't do bad things.
I've got f8 covered. You can check me on g8, but then after king h6, it seems like you're still a few moves away from getting me.
Exactly.
And I am not a few moves away from getting you.
Exactly. So let's say I go out of dodge. I don't know if you have to take on f2.
Yeah, I think I want to.
Maybe you do. So f6 check, queen f6, bishop f6. Oh boy. I think black's pieces somehow strike me as more coordinated than white's pieces, and you have
I think
this
king
h6.
King h6 is good.
It's a very, very solid choice. All right, we think that Irina has sufficient counterplay. Let's jump to the game of Alice Lee for a moment.
Oh, by the way, Beckham has won against Melik. So that game ended maybe a little faster than expected, but
exactly.
It was this kind of thing where at any moment something could go wrong and it would just be over.
Thought it was very good for white. We were just unsure how good.
Yeah, c3 is nice to stop that pressure. And
by the way,
how do you stop queen f6?
How do we stop queen f6?
You don't stop queen f6.
Rook d4, and queen f6 is next, and Melik threw in the towel. That's it. Queen takes, and snap, crackle, pop.
Yeah, so with that, Begum putting on the pressure is our sole leader now.
Don't forget that she said that, she had a bad start. She lost and drew. And she nearly lost the second one as well. She was on antibiotics and not feeling very well. But since the start, she's really doing great, going gangbusters. And today, I didn't like her opening. I think that it's a Keres attack in a very strange way. So when I was, in my E4 days, I was playing Viktor Korchnoi.
Yeah.
Viktor was black. I played G4, what was considered the standard Keres, and I played G5. H4, Rook G1, tons and tons of moves. Takes, Bishop takes, G5, Knight C6, Queen D2, Queen B6, Knight B3. This was old thing.
Yeah.
Long thing of theory, and we had some position like this on the board. But what you will notice is I played bishop on C1, takes G5.
Of course.
And
in the game,
what Begum did was played bishop E3, bishop E7, G4, H6, and now G5 makes no sense because you're a tempo down. Right. Rook G1, I think the standard move there is h4, rook g1, and g5. So what Malik is doing is he's taking a page from Garry Kasparov. Garry Kasparov famously returned to chess, played in some of the St. Louis events, and against Lanier Dominguez put on a clinic by playing g7, g5, and putting his knight on the e5
And
square.
some of these Sicilians, they just snatch up the dark squares.
Exactly.
And then you're in big danger.
But the thing is, you play g5, you're kind of giving white some kingside impetus, because after g5 there's h4 and f4, and we're going to break things open. The real question to ask, in my opinion, what are we doing? Just what are we doing? Are we going to, after knight c6, are you going to play g5 and are you going to take with the rook? That doesn't look like anything. Are you going to
maybe now h4. We'll think about
now,
this, and I can claim my rook on g1 as a purpose. G5 with the threat of g6. Is
now comes
I'm
a very
thinking
major line of play in the Sicilian, where black has a little bit more edge in the center. It's crucial from black's point of view to play rook to c8, take c3.
Yeah.
Rook to c8, take c3. Small problem. It's illegal.
There's a lot of stuff in the way.
Right. There's a lot of stuff in the way. So let's get rid of the clutter. Takes.
I'll take with the queen, I guess.
Okay. Give me your pawn.
I might go all the way back.
Yes, exactly. Go all the way back. Bishop. Queen A. Oops, sorry. I have to do it in the right order, or I miss the chance for advantage. Queen A5. Let me do it in this order. So in this case, I'm threatening knight takes e4.
So I'll try f3.
Right. This is what I want. Bishop e6 in this position.
I finally have a tempo to do my big idea. I guess I'll try it.
Yes. Takes, takes, takes. And now we pause. So it's important at the end of a variation to summarize, to what have we accomplished?
Yeah.
What have our opponents accomplished? So who has the open file? The rook on h8, right? So we put our pawn on g5 in order to kick the knight.
Sure.
And
but why
is that such a bad thing? Like, we're really, really lucky that we don't already have rook takes c3, kind of a splat, right? So we'll go knight to h5, and we want to put our knight on f4. So if we think about a Sicilian, and by the way, you could have played bishop b5 check at any moment.
Yeah.
I'll agree to put my king on f8 at any moment you like. You could put that in. So, you know, you can go back and forth. But what I'm seeing is black's getting the Sicilian edges that he likes. He's going to put his rook on c8 very, very fast. Our rook on g1 doesn't impress me that much. Maybe you have a different view.
We spent all our time playing h4, g4, g5, and I don't know
what we did.
Like
what did we do?
Like g6 isn't going to do anything, so I'm with you there.
Yeah. So bishop. I'm saying that when you're playing the Carrez attack as white, and you played the move bishop e3. Oops, excuse me. You kind of lose some of your flexibility. Now, what happened in the game?
Malik goes g5.
Is after g5 castles, white does get her break as well. Now here again is the question, how good or how bad is the knight on e5? So
I liked your knight d4, e5, bishop e6. It feels very together, and we guard the squares, we get our pieces out.
Yeah, it's a much more harmonious take. And again, anytime there's a check on b5 that would come, I'm happy to play king f8 and king g7, so we can figure it out. We'll take, I don't know, we'll just do something like this for the moment. Yeah?
Yeah.
And
B6.
anytime you want check, I will go king f8, king g7. Yes, you can win some pawns, but there is going to be
some danger involved.
Yeah. And if I play f3 and h4, well, it's a long story. To my way of thinking, this is a more positional approach by black. f4 is a danger, but I won't say that this position is winning or good or great for white. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that it's a chaotic position.
Definitely.
And bad things could happen, but let's see what happened.
Bad things.
Bad things did it.
Spoiler.
Bishop to d7. Okay, are you okay with that? I'm not sure I'm that happy with bishop to d7.
Yeah, at the risk of, again, suggesting the same move in every position, something like queen b6 or queen a5.
Just getting off the d file so I could play bishop takes e5. Okay, bishop to d7, knight b5, queen b6. Okay, that looks very ambitious. I don't like queen b6. I think a lot of people would in this position prefer queen b8. So it's funny, we talk about, we've got some crazy words for tactics. You know, like 32 different types of tactics, including X-rays.
Your fork, your pin, your X-ray, your
Skewers,
desperado.
Yeah, your Zwischenzugs, your clearance, sacrifice, and things like this. So we talk about X-ray. So one of the things is this idea that the queen on b8 defends the pawn on d6 and cannot capture the pawn on h2 because there's things in the way.
Sure.
But there's this idea of the X-ray attack. So I'm defending d6 with the idea that security. It's nice to have security checking.
Yes.
With this idea that the queen also defends the e5 pawn.
Yeah, defends e5 and
So
discards all these dark squares.
Right. So for example, bishop takes e5. Takes is not necessarily what you wanted. And the funny part, this X-ray idea, is that a moment ago we were defending d6, now we're defending e5.
Yeah.
It's very funny. And our next move is a6. Is there a refutation to queen b8? I don't like queen b6.
Yeah, I mean, queen b6 seems like more the kind of move there would be a refutation to. Right?
Exactly.
Like the queen's a little vulnerable and things can
Right.
go on. But...
Yeah, and I mean, the idea is that if you go queen e7, careful. There are, it's not all bubbles and happiness over there.
No, I like queen b8. I think that makes
Queen
a
b8.
lot of sense.
Melik saw queen b6, thought he's gaining a tempo against the rook on g1, but after bishop e6, bishop e3, I beg your pardon, queen's got to move again.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't move his queen. In fact, he decided to give up his light squared bishop. Ooh. Now this is where things are kind of could be going wrong here suddenly.
I think they have gone wrong.
Now it's like check. Yeah, I think it's suddenly gone wrong.
Yeah.
F7
it might
is
just
hanging.
be this queen b6 move.
Yeah,
It's
bishop
the wrong way to go.
Yeah, bishop takes e5 and oops, and there goes pawn.
And
it's
an important pawn too.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Korchnoi was very quick to put his king on b8, by the way.
Yeah.
He was worried about his pawn. And then this is where we saw, so very nice, interesting, fascinating Sicilian opening there. And I think that queen b6 was an overreach. Yeah. So our congratulations. Let's jump to the B group. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we were just checking in on Alice Lee's game, which is very interesting. Well, not that interesting, actually, but
well,
White has a couple bishops.
As we came on air, we have mentioned that Alice has 4 draws, But in each of her games, it seems like her opponents, maybe her as well, were really close, really close to wins. Now, in this particular position, she's playing a kind of a Catalan. She's got the 2 bishops, and I would say I would like to play white.
Yeah.
I'm just 2 bishops kind of a guy, and in this position, a key question for me is, can I play rook d6?
Bishop's attacked. My idea must have been to, oh, well, I do have 2 choices, I guess.
I think rook b6 is better than bishop e2, but
yeah.
I
was also thinking bishop c4 is there.
Bishop c4.
And just leaving the bishop there.
Okay. Okay. Sensible.
And that move might force my hand to play rook b6.
Right. Yeah. At a certain moment, you're going to have to, I think, play rook b6. All right. And what do I have here? It's not super clear to me that I have any brilliant follow-up.
I could play a few things.
Bishop takes e5 is not what I...
Yeah, it's not that impressive, right?
Yeah, not that impressive. I double up the pawns, but... Okay, so if I do it in a more, let's say, straightforward manner.
Yeah, so I could try and get active myself, but I think white's on the faster side of things. So maybe I should start with...
Rook takes a7 is a pretty big tempo.
Start with rook f7 here.
Yes.
And try and...
Rook f7.
Guard.
Guard for the moment, right? And rook d1.
Maybe bishop b5 keeps
Just
all my stuff together.
Yes, I will probably take... And we're going to get some position like this where it's not going to be, you know, Viktor Korchnoi, he had a very, very insightful expression. I would say, yeah, the weak double pawns. Weak double pawn. And he'd say, Yasser, weaknesses are only weaknesses if you can attack them. It's not, if you think about this position, it's not so easy to just attack those weaknesses. I mean, black is going to go king e7. He's going to go rook b6. He's going to remind white at some point that there's split pawns as well. It's not like you can go rook d3, rook e3, and go rook takes e5.
Definitely not.
And king is on f6 anyway, or king is on d6.
Yeah, if we're comparing bishops, I think black's is the better one.
Doing just fine. Queen takes c5 is the current position. Sorry, I'm going to have to refresh.
I'm thinking this one over, but definitely shouldn't be on the worst side of this one.
No.
She might not get her full point just yet, but I don't think she's in much danger here.
Exactly. All right.
So our last game in the B group, our last leader is Steven Zierk, and we'll see if he can try and catch Begim with this position.
By the way, what is it about today? We're seeing black connected, no, a protected pass pawn by black on the e3 square. Wow, that's really on the doorstep. And I can just, glancing at this position, I just know it comes from a Sveshnikov. I've been looking at Magnus Carlsen's games for so very long that Magnus, he gives up his queen side.
Seen this story before.
Yeah, in order to get the king side rocking and rolling. Now, it seems to me that Steven, he came into this game with this idea of allowing black to go e4, f4, e3.
Yep.
And in his mind, that is to say Steven's mind, he's thinking, I've got a really good blockade and a really steady king side.
Fighting on the light squares.
Yeah, that the pawn on g2 can be overly protected. This rook on a good day swings over, plays rook takes f4, and wouldn't you know it, snap, crackle, pop. if the knight ever moves, I want to immediately play knight b6. So how? So Akshat says, well, you're right. G2's not weak, but
The light squares are yours, but
maybe H2 is
H2
weak.
sits on a dark square.
And after rook H5,
Steven's in
Steven
the tank.
stopped. He said, oh.
Yeah, I don't see how we're defending that guy. Like, I just don't see how we're defending
Well,
that
we're
guy.
going to have to play H3 on a
Gonna
given
have
moment.
to.
Okay, so let's just start with a simple centralizing move. Queen D4.
Yep.
Don't look at your king side.
I'll try Queen H6.
Yep. Now, there's no choice in my book.
Well, you haven't. Your threat is Bishop F6, I guess. If I play Rook takes H2, there's Queen takes G7, and actually maybe that's still good for Black. So maybe there's a threat. Let's go H3.
I was on a different track.
Knight takes E3.
Knight takes E3.
I'll take it.
Good. Wise decision. Wise decision. Give me your bishop.
No.
No.
I don't want to.
No.
Okay, I'll trade the queens.
Queen takes, rook takes. So, just to be clear, I've given up a knight for 2 pawns. The rook on H5 looks a little stranded.
Definitely.
And the only question is, if you can, you probably can. You could probably go King F7 and just
King F7 and
keep
then
me
Bishop
out.
F6.
Okay.
What I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I was just, okay. And is there, okay, one more quick look, just a quick gander. Just,
Sure.
I want to see this play out. So if you play Bishop F6, my intention is check.
Yeah, King F7.
Okay.
And
So I'm dreaming of
I'll pick a square with, oh, that one, Queen E7 is
Queen
there. I
E7
think.
check, and
Yeah,
this is where I get a little benefit of my rook maybe being able to swing across the board. Sorry,
Definitely
you're going
lot
to
of
pick a
play.
square. You were going to go
the
knight
knight
E5.
C5 or E5. I think
C5 or E5 makes sense.
I'll do E5 just
Okay.
to hit the rook on E8 as well.
Right. Okay. It feels like I'm not breaking through. I mean, I'm sacrificing the house. See, this is, we say this in the NBA. The centers all pretend they're guards. They want to
Okay.
bring up the ball, and the guards, they go in and they try to dunk the ball against these giants. They think that they're centers, right? So I get this very, very shallow reputation as a positional player. No, unleash my inner Michael Tal.
Turned tactical.
Absolutely, and I especially like doing it with my opponent's pieces.
Yes.
I'm
Here, though,
sacrificing the house.
King
and-
G8 and
No.
safe enough.
Another idea was Queen D4, Queen H6, H3. And just putting that on the board for a moment.
Yeah, and so we're relying on what? We're relying on knight b6 if black moves the knight to threaten bishop takes h3 and this kind of thing.
Well, again, I got my bishop on F1.
That's true.
So that's kind of like, there's layers of protection
Yeah.
there. It's not just like you go,
It's not so fragile.
right. So you can imagine knight F8. I give you 2 moves. Knight F8, just throwing it on the board for a moment. Bishop takes H3. You get this, you get this, you get this, you get this. And maybe at the end of the day, I have this.
Well,
And I
along with checkmate, but
Checkmate,
yeah,
yeah.
queen f4.
Definitely. So it's not so easy to break through, and that might be what Steven is counting on, that
Yeah.
he
Okay, this move, queen d4, is nice. At first, it seems like the kind of move you can't really do because of this bishop f6, but then you just leave that d6 pawn behind.
Exactly. And I'm thinking that, like if I can ever get in, a check on e6 or check on e8, I'm going to disrupt the attack. Yeah. It's just going to be, and the clock times? Oh,
Steven's ahead.
I think he's played something, by the way.
Yeah, queen d4.
Queen d4.
I liked that move a lot, and so did Steven.
Steven's looking at that Peshki on f4. We had a character in the Pacific Northwest, Dirty Jim McCormick.
Okay.
James Harley himself. And he had this wonderful, wonderful cackle. Like I would go, okay, we'd play these blitz games, and I'm going to checkmate you on the H file, and he'd go queen d4, and queen takes g7 when I play rook takes h2.
Yeah,
a tactic that you mentioned a moment ago as well. Double-edged for the moment. I don't see Akshat breaking through. Could I throw one idea in the spanner? So the idea is I want to play rook h2 and queen h6 mate when I got my bishop on f2.
Maybe it's my turn to throw away some pieces. What if I?
I mean, well, why not? I mean,
yeah. I might be giving up the exchange, so I guess I'll try. I wanted to take f4, but you might just go bishop f2 check anyways.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like taking on f4, and we just have to analyze this for a moment.
G3.
It's one of those things where it's not made immediately, and when it's not made immediately, maybe it's just not made. I can take.
So rook h2.
Oh, no, this is made. This is made immediately.
Yeah.
Excuse me, this is made. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, that's hurtful then.
Not much to do.
Yeah. If you're gonna sacrifice an exchange, you might have to do it the other way.
Rookie 2, and it's a little. That doesn't feel as good, but
as before. But okay, that's a pretty safe king you have at the end of the exchange sacrifice. Fascinating position. Let's jump
queen
to the
d4
A group.
is on the board, so hopefully Akshat doesn't take too long here. That's been his issue in past rounds, so he's already down on the clock. He needs to keep it going. So
exactly.
As we stand in the B group, Begum off to an early lead.
Yes.
And we'll see if Steven or one of these other leaders is able to catch. We know Raja can't. He already drew his game.
Exactly.
But you were saying in the A group.
In the A group, Grigoriy played a terrible opening, got himself, as I want to say, disastrously a pawn behind, and he's scrambling to try to get something and save this position. Knight f3. So first move comes to mind is knight b4. I'd be hitting c2, I'd be hitting d5. Okay, what am I missing? I'm probably missing something.
Knight b4 attacks two things.
Correct.
I agree.
That is he might have thought that he sacrificed the exchange, but okay.
Yeah.
G5, it's hard to dispute that move, really, because that's a beautiful looking pawn chain.
Absolutely.
And bishop d3, by the way, stopping knight b5.
Well, is it?
Knight b4.
Oh, yeah, because the bishop hangs. Okay.
Yeah,
so knight
exactly.
e7. And we just get takes. Rook d8.
Okay.
Nothing's spoiled yet. And this
Must be
is
winning.
This is live, yeah.
Yeah, this is a live position, but boy, I mean, it's just overwhelming. It's so hard to fight against a protected pass pawn on e3. You can put a protected pass pawn on e4. It's,
it gives you a little more space to breathe.
Right.
And still, make some threats, but
no, this looks terrible.
No space. The knights are purely defensive on the second rank.
Not fun. And I want to jump to the Christopher Yu game because he's in a knight ending, and first impression is black's in serious trouble.
Should be really good for white, yeah.
Right? Because that queen side a pawn, maybe black can give up his knight for the pawns?
It doesn't seem like that's the road Christopher's heading down, though, right?
Okay, so let's just back up a second and see who's been pushing the envelope, shall we? So,
that's a pawn.
That's a funny move, but yeah, it's... So it's white who's pushing the envelope. Clearly, he could have just...
Yeah, at some point there we saw black was jumping with the knight, and white played king f1, king e2, king d3. And it seems like maybe black should have left the knight where it was. King f8, king e7, king d6.
Right.
And then we could get to a peaceful end.
I don't know about this move, king d5. That's a very peculiar looking move to me. I thought...
King c5 seems like the challenge.
The idea was to escort the a pawn.
Yeah.
And king d5? Where are you going?
Yeah, maybe to the king side.
Well, let me ask a question. Knight to g4.
That attacks h2.
Yes, it does.
And if I move my h-pawn, you might play knight e3.
Yes, I will.
And then I want to go king c5.
Which is where... Okay, maybe... Okay. Another strange thing about king d5 for me is like, okay, if I do go back...
Yeah.
King c6, I don't think... Well, maybe you can dominate? Okay, maybe this is being too compliant. Okay, fair enough.
I like knight g4. What's the story?
I don't know.
Knight g4, maybe just a4, and we're going to try to win a race.
Okay, which pawn do I want? Takes... I don't know if I can get a pawn, actually. Okay, so check.
And now king c5.
And then I'll go back to try to...
I think I should stop king b7, but how? Yeah, I guess king c6, otherwise knight c4 is a check. And now I'll come a5.
Right. So we'll get some position like this, but okay, f5, f4.
And if I play...
Anytime you're playing king b6, I want to kick you back. I want to give you a check.
So I think I will go king b6, and after check, I'll go to c5.
Okay.
And now if king d4, I think you will take my pawn.
I will. I will indeed.
I'm not seeing the way here.
It's not obvious to me either.
Oh, maybe back a couple moves. What if I go the most straightforward? a6, f4, just a7. And I'm playing for mate.
Gotcha. I have to go king a8.
And now king b6.
Check.
And yeah, now if king a6, you're going to keep checking me?
No.
Or no, you've guarded c7.
I've guarded c7. So anytime you break off the attack of mate, oh, sorry, that was supposed to go knight c7. Anytime, then I'll start doing the checks. Drive you back. Yeah.
Seems like black might be holding this.
Yeah, I mean, bending but not breaking is how we might think of this.
Christopher's left himself with the time to figure it out. That's the good news.
Good news indeed.
Ante, not so much. 50 seconds on the clock to work out the details here.
Let's jump into the game between Temur and Awonder. Awonder, like Alice Lee, has drawn all of his games, but it's not through lack of effort. His games have been intriguing, and you can just see that this is like a chaotic game as well.
Yeah.
It's takes, rook e8. Okay, rook e8. defending e5, ideas of knight f3, I don't sure. Okay, so Temur says, in the immortal words of somebody, gift me your pawn. b5, you're welcome to it, says Awonder.
Yeah, knight c4 is there.
Okay, so let's have a look. See, takes, takes.
Try with the queen, and
Just for the
now
moment,
queen
and now-
e4. Maybe I'll just... It's a good point.
It is a tempo. But this looks all very straightforward. Now, in
We
this
don't
position,
have to take back, I guess.
right, Awonder might be thinking some very, very aggressive
Yeah, rook
ideas
e3.
of, you know, there is this pawn that's on the doorstep here. And I'm not
and yeah,
sure it's necessarily working, but
Well, what is there to work? Rook e3 and...
well,
What's the
I
issue?
mean, okay.
Yeah, the
so
issue is
let's
G6.
say I'm threatening mate in 1,
So I will play f takes,
and I'm threatening mate in 1.
and I will play h takes.
So I have a perpet in hand.
Yeah.
But no, I don't have any rook lifts that I don't have any rook lifts, do I?
I don't think so.
I don't. I mean, it's funny. The pawn on f3 actually protects g2. So
It's important.
The one rook routes.
Star defender, pawn on
Yeah,
f3.
exactly. Okay, knight f3, knight takes f3. So we know white has g6 kind of in this pocket. What else does he
Well,
have?
g6, yeah, maybe there's an f6, or not f6, an h6 in reply, but...
Okay, I'll defend e3. I'll pretend.
And if I go a bit more slowly and now I play queen b5?
Right,
The issue before was queen e4, which is gone now.
right. So here.
And I will be down a pawn if I'm not careful. So I'll try queen c6 to keep everything together.
Limit the damage. Yeah, g6 is what I had aspired to. I don't know.
And now it does feel loose for black.
Kind of a little bit. Just it's like white has potential. His pieces have greater activity. The king on g8 is a little bit, feels like it more of a target here. We'll keep this one.
Well, some
in
moves have
mind.
happened. Maybe we can refresh
Yes,
and just
please.
see where we're at now. So c4 was his intention. Okay.
Okay, that one was a surprise. So takes, c4.
And
Okay, once again, queen takes e4.
queen e4 must be knight d3.
And there goes a guy. We're not in time.
Not checkmating me yet.
Yeah, and this is on the agenda. So, okay, c4. Wow, 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 wow. Talk about double-edged, great stuff going on here. And again, this is a wonder. He has been playing good, hard chess, but it's like every time it's been a draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see about this one. This one
Yes.
seems... I mean, okay,
Like,
white, at any point, either player could mess up. And
Right,
it's
easily.
just- it's
It's
game
good.
over.
Right. Okay, I'm a pawn
yeah.
grabber. Let me just take a quick gander at this for a second.
Okay.
Bishop takes e5, rook or queen?
I think queen makes sense.
Makes sense, takes. And do we clip a pawn? I suppose we do.
Could start with bishop c5, maybe?
Yep.
And
Knight is
then,
coming to g2, I think, in all cases.
then queen f5.
Yeah, anytime you want to throw that in, that's fine with me. Queen... I wanted to play queen f4 and rook d7, but I'm really afraid that you're going to go, if I go queen f4, I'm afraid you're going to go queen f5, queen c5, rook to d7, rook, queen takes, and just say, you know, like I've got the pawn nicely defended. c4. Wow. Okay, one more look before we run and hide. Rook to d5.
What happens if knight d3 here?
Knight d3. Well, okay, good news for me. I'm not losing a piece anymore.
This is good.
Yeah, this is very, very good. My eye is turning towards g6 once again. Okay, so first of all, I have to take.
Okay.
Now,
no easy choices here.
you take with the e pawn. Once again, I've got that g6
So
and malicious.
I'll take with the c pawn instead.
Okay, but boy, that's a huge sense of relief.
That the e file is not about to open up.
That's exactly it. And now, what can I do to make life fun? G6.
I'm always taking it, and I'll take again.
And let's say queen here.
Okay, so you want to take me?
I do, and I'm really eager to play rook d7 in some lines.
Yeah. And if I go queen b6, so I want to defend my pawn and threaten d4 and or
Threaten
e3,
stuff.
and then hopefully queen e6 maybe starts to defend some stuff. And what I've done with c takes d3 is at least I think these endgames are not lost immediately. Maybe they are.
Maybe they are.
What if I go d2?
D2, I was going to move my bishop, but now I realize I don't have a easy path. Sorry, I don't. I have to. I have to preface b6. With
Yeah, you've always got the one on the outside, I guess.
yeah,
But,
it's a strange
not
line.
over there for sure.
And I think that this is definitely a 3 result game. Let's
Yeah,
see.
Timur
C4,
has taken e5,
he
so
did.
we'll get something along these lines.
Right. Okay, we'll keep an eye on this one, and I don't think we've gotten to see Ray Robson's game.
We have not seen a lot of the games. Ray, in his usual time situation,
1 minute? 1 minute versus 49? Are you kidding me? Wow. Wow.
perfectly normal.
Wow. We were coming on broadcast, and we had this position on our board,
Yeah.
and we found ourselves fascinated by a piece sacrifice. Queen takes f7 check, and we were taking and then playing, pardon me, I think we were taking the other way,
To keep g6 guarded.
and then playing g3. What did Ray come up with?
Takes.
He didn't take on, and he did play our line.
He's the best.
He's the best. Rook f3, and wait a minute. This is just, I have more pawns than you do.
Yeah.
I have a lot more pawns than you do.
Looks
and
good
I'm
to
going
me.
to play
Knight e4.
knight e4, and I'm going to play rook g3, and I'm going to go splat. This is over.
Yeah, black's
This
gonna
is
have to
winning.
remaneuver a little bit. So like bishop d4, bishop e5, hold it together. But now a5.
No, this is gone.
Yeah.
White is all day for choice here. If you have to play b5, turn your eyes. That's just positionally horrifying.
And this is live?
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's 2 extra pawns. 2 extra pawns for Ray. Ray looks like he's well on his way to success. Again, he comes into today's round tied for first.
That he does.
He's won 1 game, drawn 3. Yesterday, I have gone home because I was so stunned by the play. Queen a5 was fine for Ray, but the computer says that he's only even, like
Sure.
nothing. The computer said that Andrew should have played knight d5.
Right.
And any captures of the knight were advantage white, and the move knight e1 was wrong. So I got that part right, but the computer was just evaluating the positions after queen a5 and a takes b2 as just even. It wasn't upset at all about the pawn structure.
Yeah, the game we were talking about yesterday for so long with this knight takes b4 threat,
Very strategic.
Engine doesn't care about its pawns.
I know. It's just I was very, very confused, and I was analyzing with Eric Rosen, and I was saying, but Eric, I really like this position for black. I really like these positions. No, it's not that much. Bang, bang, bang. Dead. I really like these positions. He couldn't hold them. The computer holds them, but a human being, it's really, really hard. We struggle. A5 looks like Ray's in the driver's seat on this one. Let's go to Temur, Awonder. This is where he did play.
Went for g6, takes c4, and queen c3.
A number of these moves. I don't know, but to my eyes, Black's king is safe, and
yeah,
White's king is a little
what just happened?
drafty.
How were we getting such good positions before?
Exactly.
I don't think we were going g6 right away. Right?
I wasn't. No,
You were going to go just b takes c4.
I was going to go
and
B.
let White take this f5 pawn.
Exactly.
And now you were hoping for good endgames, I think, is the big advantage here.
Although I wasn't, I was thinking that I wanted to play queen f4 and rook to d7 and pressure f7, but I saw a line where you go queen c5 takes c4, and it's just good for black. So what he did is he took, and we are up to date with the player. Let me just refresh the board. I don't like this. I don't like this one bit for white.
Bishop c5 is there. Queen takes c4 is there.
Queen takes c4 is so nice. Just, bishop to b4.
That attacks a rook.
It does.
Uh-oh. Wait a second.
It's an X-ray.
So rook d1 we have to play?
Right, because it's funny, the move bishop b4, we were talking about this strange idea that I'm not attacking the rook, I'm also attacking the bishop. I see through the diagonal, and I may end up having to play rook e2, and okay, this might transpose, but kicking the rook to a lesser square.
Rook doesn't really want to be there.
It doesn't. It does not. And Awonder seems to
taking control.
Yeah.
With the time edge as well.
Let's just see this for a second. Can I just play super initiative?
I thought maybe d1 was a better square. Because
didn't even see that it was conceivable.
Yeah.
Do you want
staying on the open file, and now I can slide my queen to e2 if I need.
Queen to e2 if you need to. So am I? Well, I don't think.
And I guess knight c2.
Wow. This is getting scary. I'm
very scary.
I'm looking at White's king, and I'm just getting, like, I don't have a pawn shield.
No. So I mean, okay,
No.
I'll keep trying. I'll go queen g2.
Right.
But oof.
Yeah, this is not pleasant here for White. I think that I'll just play with the pieces for a moment.
Yeah, I mean, my hope was to plant this knight on d4 and have some defense.
Right. Exactly. It's going to be a struggle for Temur, as I think Awonder has taken an advantage here. Not easy for White. Let's just continue our look around the horn. What have we missed?
We have not checked in on Theodorou playing Benjamin Bach.
Okay, so this was one of these very topical lines in the Tarrasch these days, and I think it was Wesley So and Maxime Bichard-Lagrave. the Frenchman with three names, MVL. And they have played this ending numerous times. And
The story is, I don't think white has much, last I checked in on it.
true that, 2 bishops, but F2 is an issue. Hold on here, what is going on? So I'm assuming we start with a check. And knight c5, right?
Okay.
And let's just see, what do I do next for an encore?
Bishop b4 hasn't solved the issues yet, so do we have to play a defensive move? Just d2.
Yeah. It's not inspiring.
Definitely not inspired.
You've got a5. It's,
a5 and knight d3. And,
a5, bishop takes d3, pardon me, rook takes. The problem is there's this very nasty rook takes f2 check.
Yeah.
That I'm facing here. So not feeling it here for white here. Knight g4, knight takes f2 on black's agenda.
Yeah, so what if we just take h6? How does the math work out there? Well, I can take f8 with check.
Take f8 with check. Take f8.
And
oh wait, I'm
King
sorry,
F2.
F2 was taking.
Okay.
That is funny. Like, wait a minute, I'm winning back my rook. No, take h6. So let's do the math. Okay, take
Now bishop g5.
Bishop g5, king back.
And okay, maybe bishop takes e4. I'm trying to get at that king.
Yes, much better. So it was really, in my mind's eye, I was dreaming of rook c2.
Yes, so bishop e4, defending.
Yes, it was, I mean, that really, really is hurtful. Sorry. My whole goal there got upended. Bishop takes h6, well, I don't know, knight takes h6, rook takes h6, rook, no,
I can
rook
take a
c2,
knight.
your rook check. So this knight has to go somewhere. Gotta go. Gotta go. Knight f6. So it's 2 versus 2 at the moment. I've got double pawns that are weaknesses because they can be attacked. But rook c2.
So, yeah, you were almost putting knight e5 on the board. I wonder if we can play that move. The idea of rook takes f2.
The idea of rook takes f2. I think I'm taking the pawn. The nice part is whenever I take the pawn, I defend.
Of course. So I'll try rook f2. But okay, this endgame might just be lost, even if white doesn't win a pawn. I think this g pawn is really, really strong.
Yeah, this knight could be just like, let's say, just offsides, right? You know, I don't know, something like this, just offsides. And
I think white wins this a lot more than a draw.
yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. So we are expecting.
Maybe white is doing pretty well.
Bishop takes. Well,
Nico has done something. He did take h6, and Benjamin is thinking now.
So hold on, but what happened here? Why is this not acceptable? Again, I am threatening rook c2, so I'm going to make 2 bad moves in a row just to show that when the rook does come to c2, it has evil intentions. e4, e3 is one of them.
Presents some danger.
Right. Rook d2, I think we've seen this kind of a thing before where I got
Yeah, knight g4,
G4
again
is, yeah, exactly.
So
we're a little bit unhappy. So knight f6, and I didn't see a follow through.
yeah, I don't either immediately. We can continue to try and take e4, some rook h4 idea.
So rook h4 immediately?
Sure.
Okay, but then?
Now rook d2. Also stopped knight g4.
Important.
Well, I say stopped, I've discouraged it. You might do it anyways in some ways.
Ah. Nicely done. Rook to d2. Nicely done. Let's see. No real tricks that I can see for the moment.
I think black might be able to consolidate though. Yeah, so it takes a knight g4 is what I was thinking.
Knight g4.
Yeah.
So you get rook takes f2 check and rook takes g2.
But after bishop e4, it's this endgame again, which is not so fun. It's better than the last version, but
right?
You still pick white in that one, I think.
Sure. And what would you have done against rook check?
Let's say king e2.
And let's say rook to d4.
Aha.
So you attack a pawn, I defend a pawn.
Yeah, I'm not too impressed with white. I can go f3 and trade these guys.
Right. Still maybe
I
knight
think,
versus bishop. It's okay, and it's an advantage.
Yeah, white's gonna
Press
with the g pawn surviving and getting to endgames. It's gonna be tough, but
right. Okay.
Depends on the specifics, I guess. I like f3 in this position though.
Exactly. By the way, Christopher did make a draw. That was that knight ending. I just want to refresh how he did it, because at a certain moment there, whenever your king is in this kind of a stalemate box, you know, like we saw a6, king back, right?
It gets scary.
Yeah. He did, by the way, break off of his attack, and he did end up.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one pawn shouldn't be enough in most cases. Okay. Especially if you lose the knight.
Exactly. Okay. And they play till naked kings. Very good. Grigoriy, no. Still suffering. Still suffering.
Yeah, he's trying to hold on to all the squares, but it shouldn't last.
By the way, it's rather unusual, but imagining the knight, it goes to f5 for just a moment. You're attacking the pawn on d4 with two knights.
That's pretty good.
You're just missing the kitchen sink. You know? I mean, I don't usually see that type of a build-up. You know, like you ask, you know, like, how did you do it? I won. What did you do? Well, I attacked him with everything I've got.
I think this is his plan. And then g4 is going to remove a defender, and I think we'll just crash through.
Exactly. But I really did. I attacked him with everything I had.
Tough to bring in the king.
Exactly. Once again, I just wanted to see what is happening with. Ooh, he did play.
Yeah, we saw that bishop b4.
Bishop b4.
Rook d1, queen c4.
Rook d1, queen c4.
And Temur opted for queen f1. It's the defensive try.
I just feel like White is doing his very, very best to hold on, and he probably can. But it's not a fun task.
Not at all.
No, I don't envy his situation here. We're going to go to the B group.
Let's check it out.
And I'm going to refresh the
left
game of
Steven
Steven.
with queen d4.
By the way, bishop h4.
Rook e2.
So let's have a look-see. Queen d4, bishop h4, menacing a rook sacrifice. Bishop f2 check. Rook takes h2. We pointed this out a little while ago. For those of you who are joining us late, shame on you. But happy to have you with us. Bishop f2 check. Steven says, I'm ready to sacrifice in exchange.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Go ahead, please make my day.
Akshat said, I prefer my bishop. Didn't go bishop f2.
Didn't go bishop f2. And you kind of saw me wanting to sacrifice my piece. I wanted to go like knight takes e3, and so any way that I can clear the clutter.
Yeah.
queen takes f4?
So there's queen f4, there's knight d6, and there's knight e3, and there's knight b6. We're going to have to pick one.
Yeah,
but
my
that's
head
why
hurts.
I guess Steven has been thinking here for probably close to 15, 20 minutes, it looks like.
Okay. Let's be most foul.
Queen f4. Or no, that's
No.
not the most foul.
The most foul is to stop rook takes d5.
Okay,
You want to win a rook,
I do.
and you want to win a pawn.
I
so,
think...
So we're asking black, dude, you got to checkmate me because I am crashing through everywhere. I'm threatening queen takes f4. I've defended d5. And if you don't mate me, it's game over. Bishop g3.
Yeah, bishop g3, and what do we want?
Bishop g3 is a good hit.
So it's not mate on the next move, but it's mate. It is. It's bishop h2, bishop g3, rook h1, queen h6.
Yes.
Queen h2. That'll do it.
That will do it. So we are seeing a mate.
Yeah.
Okay. So the idea of knight f6 is you're taking away our queen takes g7 checkmate. So let's have a look. Queen takes f4.
Stopping bishop g3. At least I
Stopping
hope.
bishop g3. And winning a pawn. Very important.
So knight takes d5 attacks two of our pieces.
Yes, that is
At least.
three.
Maybe more.
Three of our pieces. Yes, it does. Knight takes d5. First, I'm still patting myself on the back for not getting mated by bishop g3. Now,
Seems like a good move, though.
it does. Let's go. Queen takes pawn.
I will play bishop f2 to start. Yeah, I might regret that one. I thought you couldn't go king h1, but I think you can, because now your queen is defending h2.
Ooh, are you sure? I was going to take the bishop.
Okay, well that's more what I was hoping for. And then
Okay.
if I am fully greedy and I just try to take on b4, yeah, so take d6.
Takes d6, takes d6.
And then take on b4.
b4, take on b4. You have two exchanges, but at the end of the day, I have a massive threat. Bishop c4 check.
Yes.
That's a massive threat. And I've broken the attack for two pawns. So I have two bishops and
Oh,
two pawns
God.
for two exchanges.
It's too much math, yes.
I know, and
Knight takes b7
Seven
is on
on
deck. If I play
taps.
bishop e6.
yeah, knight takes b7 is something you may have to deal with. That is a very, very unusual imbalance where you're used to a queen versus two rooks. You can even get queen versus, three minor pieces, and it's chaos. It's very rare to see two exchange sacrifices. Okay, beside queen f4, okay, knight takes d6. Can I just have a gander?
I don't think it's severe enough. I think bishop g3 is still
Killer.
on my mind.
And it sure feels, it's a bit, okay,
Takes, I want queen h6.
takes, you want queen h6. Yep, and that is a big threat, and you've got, I just don't have, it's funny, this rook on b4, I thought it was going to do something along the fourth rank, and
It's just not getting over there.
it's just not, it's not doing it. It's not doing it. So we have
this
been
queen f4
looking at
line's
queen takes f4,
Pretty important then.
knight takes d6, and here I took on d6. I don't see a choice. I mean, again, if this was an open line, I'd even be considering queen takes h4.
Grab the bishop, get rid of the attackers, but this way is different.
Now here I could have potentially kept queens on the board, but I thought it was my king that was the more vulnerable one. So,
Well, yeah. I mean, black could start with queen d6 as well.
you can get the and we have been looking at bishop f2 earlier.
Bishop f2 earlier, but I thought maybe there was king h1, but maybe not. So yeah, I think we said bishop f2 here.
Okay.
And
I
I
was
thought
afraid.
I might be able to.
I was afraid that if I did this,
Right.
let's say I go. Okay, let's say I go here. So I'm threatening the knight. I'm threatening h2.
Okay. I need to save some of my pieces.
True that. a lot of
work to do.
Yeah, are hanging.
I think knight e4 makes sense.
Okay. So knight e4 makes sense. I take a pawn.
I'll just slide to the left.
Yep. I will want to take a rook, but you'll take my bishop, I suppose. Boy, oh boy, this is...
I think I've saved it all.
For the moment...
Yeah, so I'm okay losing one of my exchanges, so I thought I could play g3 and start to
and
close up.
At least
shop.
Yeah, at least the checkmate has been averted, and well, the attack has been beaten off, I want to say. Let's just see, what are the clock times? Because Stephen has been spending a lot of time, but oh my God, so has Akshat.
It's the critical moment, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Akshat spent about 15 of his remaining 20 minutes to get here.
Right.
And doesn't leave him a lot of time to figure out the rest.
No, it does not.
And Stephen has played something. Is it queen f4? I think it is queen f4. Yeah, queen f4 on the board.
Okay, so he took an important tooth.
Yes.
I mean, we stopped the bishop g3 stuff. We are threatening just to win the pawn on e3, and we're basically, this is our sequence. Knight takes d5.
Queen d6.
Queen
and here
d6.
bishop f2, we thought maybe king h1.
Bishop.
But maybe black can, even before knight d5, play this move bishop f2. Maybe this is one way to improve. And now it's going to be a little harder to play king h1 because there's bishop g3.
Right. I was so eager to take
we got to take the bishop. So you might get this 2 exchange for activity and pawns, and you might end up this way.
I was kind of hoping to induce you to play queen takes c2 check, because I didn't actually think, I didn't think that black's queen was the aggressor anymore, and I thought it was white's queen that might be doing damage. So queen takes c2 check, king g1, and I'm thinking, okay, you know, it's my turn.
My turn
to
to
have a little
me.
Checkmating action going on.
I think if we choose the simple one, queen d6 and then knight b4, I just am really not sure
how to evaluate
where we
this.
stand here. So I think, so I don't necessarily have to play bishop e6. I could try h6.
Okay, h6.
And this way I can try and pretend to hold on to my queenside pawns for at least a little bit longer.
All right, let's have a look, shall we? Check.
I want to go king h7.
Let's have a look. King h7.
My pieces are all just useless. They're all junk, but
they do not inspire, that is for sure.
White has to be better, I think.
Kind of like, I'm more like curious what your next move might be.
That's what I'm thinking is there's just not a lot to do.
I don't want to see the rook landing here, so I don't know. I could also include bishop d3 and g6.
Yeah, so I think bishop d7 is my next move. And I'll lose one of my pawns, but now if I can get bishop b5, I think I'm going to be a little happier with the state of affairs.
Check.
So I'll play g6.
And let me...
And I'll still go bishop b5 here.
Bishop b5 here, and I want to be obstinate, stubborn, and keep the power of the two bishops, strangely enough, rests with the two bishops. When one of the players is able to trade them off, the power of the two bishops is like, poof, it's like losing a pawn or something. Like, maybe that was my passer. Like I suddenly feel defanged.
I'll move my A rook. C8 seems like a square, and you're going to be able to trade that knight for the bishop if you want it.
I do.
But,
I do.
So I'll go
I
rook
do.
C7.
I do.
And let's just see where we stand at the end. End of the affair.
Yeah, for me, this is a 2-result game. Black might draw, but white might win.
Okay.
It's just like one of those things. You will, at one point, give up a rook for a bishop and 2 pawns.
Yeah.
And then on the worst case, I'll have 3 versus 2, and that will be a draw. On the best case, I'll have a pass pawn as well on the queen side.
It feels like that's the case. I think though maybe it's not. I don't think it's lost. I think Black is doing
game.
Okay. But boy, does it take some effort to get here.
Right, it did. And by the way, this isn't.
It's landing on the board. Knight takes b4, bishop b4, and we're there.
The players are caught up with us. We have been looking at h6.
Yeah, there is also bishop e6.
Yeah, and I was thinking that maybe you need to start with bishop e6 here because I just...
Well, I wondered if I could take b7.
Yeah, and for sure, right? And if we go rook b8...
And bishop a6.
And bishop b5. So this is... Yeah,
that might collect a guy.
It was Jonathan Mestel. Jonathan Mestel, he was one of the most ardent fans of the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And there were many, many variations where he, as black, would sacrifice a rook for 4 pawns.
Yeah.
And if you look at Jonathan Mestel's games, you would see a rook and 4. This is not one of those
I was gonna say,
positions where, okay, so...
Rooks are pretty good.
Rooks are pretty good. Here, though, it looks like...
Seems like knight b7 isn't the way then.
We probably need to play a move like c4, just to ask, like, how are you going to defend this guy?
Rook b8.
Rook b8. And let's say we put the bishop on a decent square. I don't know. Where is a decent square? Hold on. H2 is still
there's an
hanging.
h2 pawn as well.
H2 is still hanging. That's
and actually, were you even threatening to take b7 last turn? Maybe I could have just played rook h2 because works out pretty similar.
I think in similar fashion, I'm going to play rook takes a2, rook takes h2, bishop to so
instead of rook b8, maybe just take on h2.
Sure. Yeah. And I think I'm saying we're just going to transpose, right? I'm going to go bishop to e4.
Okay, so rook b8, bishop e4, and b6 seems like one way to go.
We're going to
Just
get
take
a
it.
situation where,
Okay, but this time, at the very least, I can play rook d6. No, I can't. My rook. Who put my rook there?
Yeah, this is where you look for the bailouts.
Yeah.
I think the important one here is that previously I had traded my knight for the bishop. And here, I think your bishop is actually a better piece than my knight.
Yeah.
To control c8, I don't know. Maybe on a good day you've got... It's just more of a long-range piece. Great stuff going on here between Stephen and Akshat. We're going to keep our eye on this one. as we've just seen the move knight takes b4.
And Steven's
Why
really
is Steven
taking some
thinking
time.
about
I don't
this
know.
one? Could he? No, I don't think he's thinking about bishop c4 check,
And
knight
check,
d5.
check doesn't seem to do it.
No.
Well, check, knight d5, g4. Is this, he wants to do something crazy?
Possibly that. Okay, so maybe he does have a point.
Because we were talking about, you know, if you don't get
Rook.
h6 on the board, you might get mated.
Mate is strong. Okay, so takes,
King g3.
king g3, takes.
And yeah, bishop d5. Now bishop b4. You're going to take my c pawn.
Bishop a3 is a funny move. I don't have a way of hitting the bishop anymore.
Yeah, it's getting weird.
So this is what Steven is calculating: 5 minutes to 13 minutes in this game, and to describe the game as chaotic is an understatement.
Yeah, so bishop e4, we think this move bishop e6 is keeping
probably
black
the
in the
best.
game, so that's why bishop c4 would be a big improvement, if we
Yeah.
can.
Again, we're getting into the same kind of endings. Let me just have a quick gander at this one because we haven't looked at this. If you play rook b8, I'm not saying it's a good move, I'm just saying if you play rook b8, where is that rook actually hiding?
It's not very many places. I think I can go to d5.
Bishop to d. This is a bishops of opposite color, right? If you take,
And
I mean.
take. It's
2 pawns
might
down,
be
though.
winning, yeah.
2 pawns down.
And again, maybe rook b8 is not the best square.
Right.
So
I'm just putting that on the board to
Maybe
say.
d8 is a good option. If
Rook to
if we're
d8.
willing to lose some of our pawns, this is
Okay.
one way to go.
Rook to d8. Willing to lose some pawns. So I won a tempo
Yes.
by playing this h3, and I can go knight b7, bishop a6 as transpose into that line. And the one I'm really more than curious about, though, is I'd like to play c4. At a certain moment, knight b7 is going to be a threat. I just don't know when.
Right. Yeah, I'm really trying to bail out. It seems like with the rooks, at some point, we're going to be able to take a minor piece. Maybe that point is now. Just rook takes d6.
Takes.
And rook a5.
Maybe rook a5.
I'm not going to say black is crushing it, but I think black's doing okay.
I tend to agree with that one.
And
Intriguing moment.
Steven made his choice. I think he did just take the knight on b4. So we are still heading this way. And bishop e6, h3.
Right. I like, again, we had a cast of characters in the Pacific Northwest, and we had one guy, Dr. Elad Mashkarsky. He was a professor of mathematics at the University of British Columbia. And he would say, same move faster was better.
Yeah.
It took a long time to take the knight on b4. Bishop takes b4. Sometimes you regret not having that 3-4 minutes. We're going to keep this game on pause. Where would you like to go?
Well, I've heard that we might have action in the B group where Andy Woodward has won against Irina Krush. So we thought Irina had some compensation, but things were slipping, and all of a sudden,
Wow.
things slipped pretty far.
Again, we've mentioned that several times. This has happened to Irina in the tournament, that she's actually had decent openings and pretty good actually, and then bad results from them. Why didn't she take on g3?
I wanted to play it on every turn for the past 5 turns.
Right.
I don't know what the holdup was, but
Okay.
better to have traded that pawn than lost that pawn.
Oh no.
Oh, this was the tactic.
She just blundered.
Yeah.
This is like a triple kazam.
Triple Kazam.
Oh no.
Not the triple Kazam.
Oh no. Oh no. F6 and
Yeah.
The twin threats of checkmate and oh no. And
That's a queen.
oh my gosh.
That's just a queen.
That is
So,
a
well,
hallucination.
Did she play queen f8 and it's really over?
I think so. Oh, you're right. She
Queen
did play queen f8.
But yeah, you just can't win the f6 pawn back.
Well, there's a problem.
Yeah, that's there as well.
Bishop. Oh. That's the cold shower moment. You didn't see f6.
Yeah.
When she played rook d4.
Yeah, you just like win a queen immediately.
It's terrible.
The rook moves bishop e4, and if queen h6, there's check on the 8th, bishop h7.
Yep. Done and dusted. Oh my, what a disaster.
So that brings Andy into a tie for first once again with Begum. They've both won their game this round.
Exactly. Now, when we left this game, this was Alice Lee. Alice did play rook d6, rook b6, but strangely enough, she decided that she wanted to take on b6. She created a weakness for her opponent, but
the activity's still there.
Let's see. Wow, I'm thinking as white, I better bail out.
Yeah,
here. That knight on c4 is really strong.
Alice is thinking you got some weak pawns, but
she blundered. She blundered rook c8. She didn't see that she would be. Her intention, of course,
maybe bishop b6,
was to take the pawn and be happy. But she's no longer happy.
Maybe she saw all this and thought there was e4.
Okay, so then she must have missed something. She must have
maybe knight
e2.
But I mean, I'm not losing, right? The bishop's attacked twice. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's a fork.
Yeah, so there's knight d2. Otherwise, this would hold on to stuff, but yeah, so she just returns to f4.
She missed some tactics because she returned to f4 and suddenly she's on the back foot now.
I remember we could have played bishop takes knight, doubling black's pawn, and now black can play knight takes bishop, doubling white's pawns. And that seems like a pretty big reversal.
Black is really doing very, very well suddenly.
Yeah,
yes.
Things are slipping big time.
And have slipped.
Here, knight b2 is
interesting
because now that does allow a5.
Right. For me, a move like king f7, king e6, activating the king is more or less automatic.
We had a great hold, but now like a5, is white going to get active all of a sudden?
Let me just update. You say a5.
Yeah, I mean, a move ago, I couldn't move any pieces, and now I want to at least bring in my guys. Bishop takes c5.
Okay. And let's see if we can win.
Bishop a3.
See whose pawn is.
Okay, rook a1 I want to try. I don't want to just move my bishop away and let you start to push down the board.
That's absolutely a good point. Something is wrong here.
Yeah, why did we let this happen?
That is a very peculiar.
You wanted king f7, king e6, but I also would have really thought about just knight takes e3 and rook d2 and
those are easy lines.
Blow some stuff up.
Is our a pawn? I don't know. I'm a little bit confused. Okay. So, does the a pawn? Okay, I'm assuming you have to take. Does the a pawn? Can it overcome the blockade?
Maybe. So let's say I just try to play e3, offer this trade.
Oop, that was a slip, mouse slip. Okay.
And you'll win my c3 pawn, this is true. And if I go king e1?
Yeah, then I like what black did.
Yeah, then this seems like it works.
Yeah, then I mean black is two result game. We're going to keep our eye on this as Alice is down to her minute, but a minute on her clock, but she played rook a1
was her choice. So maybe she didn't like this line with a5.
And rook d1.
d1 to follow.
Rook d1 still is Oh, it's still, and we've got a threat. Bishop e2.
This is true. I think we have to take.
And this is what Black has been playing.
Yeah, we're heading down the same lines, but I think we're getting some results coming in.
Let's jump.
From the A group in particular.
Exactly. And ooh,
Awonder Liang. We thought
look
Temur
at
was under
this.
some pressure,
And he was.
It was more than pressure, it turns out. So we left it at Queen F1.
Yep.
Awonder found Queen A2.
Queen G2.
Little shuffle, and wow, that's what a decision to just allow Queen takes E3.
Nice. I'm just saying that Awonder's keeping fantastic control. This knight on G2. Oh. Oh.
Oh boy.
Oh. Oh, nice. Nice finish.
Yeah, nice
powerful
coordination
play
by Awonder as well. Like the bishop guarding the rook and the queen with the pawn, and then they all come together.
Totally. Love what he did in this game. And Andrew also won.
Andrew Hong has also won against Grigoriy Oparin. This was also to be expected with...
We saw it from a mile away. Once that pawn got on E3, it was all play on one goal.
Writing on the wall.
Yes.
And yeah, that G4 move did come through at the proper time.
Oof.
Yeah, it's
Oof.
Oh, boy.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. This is very grim.
Yeah, G2.
G2.
Woof.
Oh.
Woof.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Andrew. Unfortunately for Grigoriy, this is one of those, he lost it out of the opening.
Yeah, no.
Essentially, he got here, and you can almost say that as soon as Black achieved this position, it was just, inevitable.
And he had only spent 20 minutes to get here. That's
bizarre.
That's just strange.
And,
very, very strange.
And again, the confusing part.
So he got here with more time on his clock than he started with.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, maybe he forgot something or missed something. I don't know. This
had to be the road he had to travel. Now, at first blush, you might say, "Yes, you're an idiot. This is a terrible pin." I'm just saying it's not so easy to exploit it once you realize that your own king is exposed as well after check. You can't put the rook in the way. I'll take the bishop. You put the king on the diagonal, and I've got, I don't care, 92,
95 maybe.
95. So I'm not losing my queen. And if you can't exploit this diagonal immediately, King B1.
You're kind of out of it.
I'm out of it, absolutely. I'll move my bishop, I'll put my rook on F1. He didn't do this, he took on D6, did white, and after this he was almost like material down.
One of those times where it's tough to see what he missed.
Exactly, can't explain it. Yeah. What other games do we have?
So Ray is still with that great position. What has he done with it with no time?
Typical of Ray. Oh, but by the way, we left it at A5 and we thought this was
94, dusted. C3, A5 on the board.
Now, we thought this was dusted. Yeah. The problem was that Ray had a minute on his clock. And did that give Michael some opportunities?
B5, B4 opens that diagonal again. That's a clever idea. But now knight C5 attacks everything. Whoa.
Yeah, like I'm
Rook E2?
Confusion reigns.
I think Ray is...
Okay, well, we're threatening Rook D7. So everything's still good. We've got knight D7 in our pocket, and we can fork some pieces. Guess what? He did it. I'm threatening to take the bishop, which is the only compensation, the two bishops. Mm-hmm. So check. But wait a minute. E2 is hanging, F8 is hanging. No, he didn't go king F1.
Yeah, there was bishop A6, I guess. Maybe.
Bishop A6. Wow, what a move. So he played king F1, rook G8,
King
F6.
F6.
This is a bizarre game. I'm threatening rook f7, followed by knight f6.
Okay, rook f7, followed by knight f6. Or knight e5.
Knight e5.
No.
I'm threatening rook takes d6 check, knight takes c6.
Yeah, why did we put a knight on a square that was attacked?
Rook
and
h2 mate.
Rook h2 would be mate. I agree. That's why no knight f6.
Rook h3. I mean, I had the same
Yeah.
question. Why did we put... Okay, so now he's giving himself... So checks, there's no perpetual. Check, 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 check. There's no perpetual, and he's defending his bishop. Rook e4.
That
threatens
also
h4.
threatens checkmate.
This is a confused... I am massively confused by this game. I will not ask Ray what he was thinking because
Yeah, somehow
I
it shouldn't have been this hard.
No.
It just shouldn't have been this hard.
No, not at all. And I think the time factor, the clock has played the crucial factor here. And I think it still does. 17 minutes to Ray's 34 seconds. As we've been explaining, the format of the tournament is there's no second time control. Both players start with 2 hours. They get their 30-second increment, and that is it. Ray will be playing on his increments for the rest of this game.
And I'm just trying to make sure it doesn't blunder checkmate. Can I just play rook g to g4, try to pick up an h-pawn and...
Rook to g. Rook on g to g4 just to try to pick up an h-pawn and not to blunder mate.
Yeah. You can't take c6, because I'll go bishop e7.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really do much to me, I think.
Right?
Maybe...
Looks like a very good question to me.
I was thinking we could try rook e3 to try to play e7 soon.
Although...
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like...
Well, yeah. Rook e3 also opens the door for rook takes c6, which then if I can get rid of the bishop, then I can play e7, then I can go, you know, bishop f7 check or something.
But I'm getting a little concerned here. Like, who is playing for, you know, what result? Like, okay, let me just ask a quick question. h5.
Okay. And if I play rook takes c6,
check,
king g3,
check,
king f2,
check.
king, ooh, uh-oh. I guess
I'm ready.
It's got to be king f1.
Because you don't want to play king f3, and that was why I put my pawn on h5.
Yeah.
So king f3 just gets answered by that one. Bishop to c6.
And bishop b7?
Now here, it feels like there should be some mating patterns. But okay, bishop b7, I like that's a good start.
Bring in the bishop and then
bishop a6. So rook c7, bishop a6. That's the mating pattern I want.
Well, yes.
Yes. So,
Might
wow.
lose some stuff here.
We thought that Ray materially, positionally, had the game in the bag, and chaos has erupted, and we're just as perplexed as perplexed could be.
Was a nice move by Antipov, just to open that bishop back up.
Yeah, and I'm thinking here that Ray just had to have something much, much, much simpler than whatever it is that he chose.
Rook e1 maybe was slower than
lackadaisical or so. I mean, boy, there's like knight c5. We could be driving the bishop into purgatory.
Yeah, knight c5. I think he was worried about rook d2 still,
check.
but
yeah,
it seems like a much better version of the same.
This is
get all that. It's like black got everything. Black won f5, he won h2, he opened up the bishop.
He opened up the king. He put the king in a precarious position. White's king at this moment that's our. I think that's
Yeah,
our.
and Antipov is thinking here.
And
in
so
fairness.
black won the f pawn. Rook on b4 is really active. It hits the bishop. It hits the h pawn. I like your move, rook on g8 to g4 very much. And it starts to beg the question of like who's playing for a win, because the white king is quite vulnerable.
Well, not so easy.
Not so easy at all. All right.
So let's just recap kind of where do we stand here, how many games are left. So of course, Andrew Hong defeated Grigoriy Oparin to improve to 3.5. Awonder Liang has defeated Temur Kuybokarov, and Christopher Yu and Ante Brkic have drawn their game. That leaves us with just 2 games left in the A group. One of them is this Ray Robson game. The other is Nikolas Theodorou.
Another chaotic game.
Yeah, this was that Tarasha endgame.
Nikolas is in a rook ending. Well, I like white.
Yeah, white on the better side of things.
The
But
double pawns on the
enough?
Yeah, the double pawns in the middle of the board aren't threatening anybody.
It's true.
The G pawn is the danger guy, and maybe on a good day, a4, a5, rook takes a6. The A pawn could be a danger guy. The problem is, put the king on an active square.
Yeah.
Put the king on an active square, and guess what? We can turn these passive pawns into something. But because the king is actually cut off on the 6th rank, can't play in the game, Benjamin is suffering. He's going to have to really figure out if he can hold this game or not. It's not fun. In the B group?
And over in the B group, who do we have left? Of course, we have Alice Lee under
Duress.
Whoa,
Ooh,
that's
no
a
longer
bishop.
duress.
What happened here?
She got tricked.
Oh,
She
man.
got massively
E3
tricked.
check.
We saw the trade of rooks,
Yeah.
and now the knight went back. Give me the pawn on a4.
And yeah, it's E3 check. That's the tactic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whether you take it with the bishop or the king,
Knight
you're
E1, bishop B7.
walking
and,
into a loss of a piece.
And Brewington with his second win in the Classic.
I know, and he said to us, he came on our show and he said to us that it was his fault. He left himself with a little bit of time, but he got into an ending, which he said it was holdable, but he couldn't find the resource he needed, and with his victory, hey, you know.
Yeah, maybe he knows some stuff about endgames.
Exactly. What a nice move, that E3. That's a puzzle rush tactic. What else?
Brewington will win that one.
What other results have we
Just
got?
to recap the results, Raja has drawn against Josiah Stearman with that interesting queen sacrifice line.
Grandmaster draw B.
And 2 of our leaders did manage to win with the white pieces. That is Gulrukbegim, who defeated Melik, and Andy Woodward, who defeated Irina Krush, kind of out of nowhere.
Right.
Shot from the blue.
F6.
And that leaves us with 1 game besides this one, which, okay, Brewington's going to be up a piece, should win. And that is
Right.
this very odd game between Steven Zierk and Akshat Chandra.
When we left it, we got into this material imbalance of like 2 exchanges, and that was the bail. We saw the bail. Rook takes d6, and
They've gone for this.
yes. And
I don't necessarily dislike black here. In fact, black just decided
not to make
continue the game.
repetition. He played Akshat just did play the move Rook C1, and as you say, continue the game. I like that decision.
Rooks are good.
Rooks are good.
So C5 seems like a way to keep the pawn.
C5, bishop to D5, just to so I'm dreaming as white to try to get the bishop passively, but I think this move bishop B5 is necessary.
And okay, with white, I'm thinking I need to start making my majority matter. So how do I go about doing that?
Right.
Is it with G4 to start? Is it with F4 to start?
But essentially, get those doggies moving.
Yeah, our pieces are worth less, so we have to make the pawns count.
Right. Rawhide, rawhide.
So I think I like F4 to start with, just because
Okay.
after G4, I don't know. I don't know how I feel.
Okay.
Something about it.
Tickle.
So yeah, I can't really let your rook get to g2, but maybe I can't stop you. That's not so good. Yeah, if I go bishop e2, you'll go rook d2, of course.
Yep.
And you have a threat and another threat, and that's good enough for me. So
Yeah.
maybe f4 is just not playable.
Not working. So
Excellent.
bishop d5, and white has to be careful.
Very careful. Yeah, so if g4, this was another way to start.
G4, okay.
And if you try your same move, rook d1, this time I was planning to just to go king e3.
King to e3 in this case. And if I munch a pawn, bishop c4 check, I have bishop d5. You have bishop c2.
Well, hold on. Bishop c4, is that something? No, it's not something fun.
Well,
but yeah, bishop c2.
Yeah, and then we can get into a, what do we call this? Ending. Bishop ending. Boy, I'm not sure. Munch, munch, munch. I'm confused.
This one might even be good for white, right?
Yeah, that is confusing. Sorry, we went G4, not F4. We went G4.
So there's rook H1 stuff as well, but
yeah, let's pull. Let's go for the peshki.
And okay, can I be mean somehow? And I want to let you take my free pawn and
I will do
hopefully regret it, but
I will do it. I will take your free pawn.
yeah, I was thinking bishop f4
Bishop
would be one way.
F4.
And oh, okay, so that's a threat, so never mind. Yeah, I must go king g2.
Rook h1, king g2.
And we're back to d1.
Rook to d1. Give me your bishop.
It just seems too loose. Like my bishop doesn't have any safe squares in the position, and I definitely don't want to trade it away for your bishop. I think I might just lose.
That looks pretty lost.
That seems like the problem for white, right?
Right.
We need to get our majority going, but we need our pieces on these stable squares, and I don't see the square for the bishop. So instead, we must just have to sit, just play king e3 and pass the time.
Pass the time. Yeah, okay. Do I have to play g6 or h6, or can I also activate my king, king f7? If you take g6, it's not...
Bishop e5?
Rook c5.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can't take.
So you can't take.
I don't know. I'm starting to really like this for black. The more that we're sitting here, the less it seems. Seems
fun.
like the bishops are good. Yeah.
Yeah. The rook on c1, hitting g1, hitting h1. I had a different perspective. I thought that it was very important for me to get rid of my b pawn. I would like to play b5.
Okay.
So I was thinking that if I could play b4, followed by b5, ab, bishop takes b5, and put my bishop on f1, then I can't lose. I've got my bishop anchored, and I'll always have a 3 versus 2 after b6.
I'm just not sure we get there. So
Exactly.
If rook c3?
Rook c3. So do we get there or not?
And rook b3 is my point.
That is a good point. So let's see it.
Rook b3?
Yep. And let's... No, I'm not going to get checked. Sorry. I'm going to get checked. I was going to play
c6 with this discovery.
And discover check is my problem. So I have to put my bishop back on f1, but then bishop
still-
c4. And that is definitely...
You're trapped.
Yeah, I'm trapped.
Checkmate to the bishop.
Yes. Uh-oh, and
Yeah, I'm
just
noticing.
getting a warning. I'm getting
I was
a warning here.
noticing this earlier as well. Alice, Steven, everybody is at 0 seconds. I'm
It looked
thinking
like
we might.
Benjamin lost on time.
We might have some DGT feed issues going on.
Oh no!
But yeah.
Oh my gosh, we might be having a network issue here.
Well, the good news is
We got to see a lot of the games.
we learned a lot. It was a good time for it to cut out because Brewington just won the piece. Surely he went on to win that game.
Exactly.
Akshat definitely pressing over here. And if we click back over to the A group, we had those 2 games left.
We expected that Nikolas had the sunny side
Yeah, better side of the draw here.
of a draw.
Well, okay, maybe I shouldn't even say that. Just the better side of the position.
Yeah,
It's not-
sunny side of the position. Yeah.
Um,
And we also thought that
Antipov was mounting this comeback.
big time.
Oh, yeah.
And we weren't even sure that Ray was the one who was playing for a win anymore, and that was why he played the move. Yes, we were looking at the move Rook G4. If we've got connection problems,
Seems like a good time to maybe head off for the day.
Exactly.
So just those 4 games left. We think we have clarity in most of them.
Exactly.
Actually. So this Ray Robson and Antipov game still absolutely wild.
Yes.
But the rest of them, we think we know what's going on.
exactly.
So as it sits, Andrew Hong, and that's it. Andrew Hong is going to be maybe our sole leader in the A group, depending on how it turns out.
Exactly.
And in the B group, Andy Woodward and Beckham, both with those wins, are going to be leading the pack over there.
We had expected Ray Robson to join Andrew with
that's-
the +2 score, but that is no longer the case. And well,
To say it's up in the air is being generous. It's-
exactly.
yeah.
Caleb, it was great. Thank you so much for joining us. And same time, same channel. We'll be doing it all tomorrow.
Same chess time, same chess channel.
That's it.
Tomorrow, be sure to tune into uschesschamps.com. Follow the game starting at 1:30 p.m. tomorrow, and you can join our show beginning at 4 p.m. That's all from St. Louis. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good night.
Good night, everyone. What a time.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Any reproduction or distribution of this content without the express written consent of the St. Louis Chess Club is prohibited.